Hello and welcome back to Woodhill Park, my 1980s loft layout. I hope you all had a nice Christmas and you're enjoying the new year, and hopefully it'll be a better one than previous years. Anyway, over Christmas I did manage to fit in working on my embankment as the weather got a bit milder and give me the chance to work on it. And it's one of my to-do lists, as you know from my previous update. I had a fair bit of holiday, so I could really get stuck in, and the first thing I had to do was work on the TMD point motors, which I had to install. And quite annoyingly, one of the pillars that holds the TMD up, which I'd put more than enough screws in, I shouldn't have just glued it like I've done other pillars. I had a job to move because I needed to put a point motor right next to it, so that was a bit of a struggle. But once I'd done that and got all the point motors in place, I then managed to get on with the various processes of building the embankment, as you'll see in this video coming up. But it's quite a long sort of video, so I'm thinking of cutting it into two parts. So this is quite likely to be part one of a two-part series on me building it, as it took some time and there was quite a bit of filming. Hopefully it doesn't bore you to tears, and it's really why, or that's really why I split it into two. So I've run out of words. Right, I've finished putting all the points in this end of the TMD, which now allows me to get on with the embankment and putting this stone bridge into place. But I have got a dilemma that the stone bridge is a bit shorter than it needs to be. Could do with being a bit taller. As the curve goes over, it goes beneath the board at the top by about 15mm. Now I could slope the board down to it somehow, but it may not look right. Or my other thoughts are to put a plinth underneath the bridge. So I've been looking around for some stone sort of brickwork I could use, and so far I've come up with a piece of this. If it stays put, I'm thinking of extending the height of the bridge with this at the bottom of it. Once it's weathered and painted, will probably blend quite well. But then there's other issues, the sides of it and other things. Even though this height of this extra bit of walling will become part of the bridge, will take it up to the perfect height at the top of the bridge where the road meets the upper level. It's a bit of a conundrum I have to work out, as because I don't think having the embankment underneath the brickwork would look right, because I think the brickwork would go right down to the level of the track. But I'm going to have a look at some bridges and stuff and see if I can determine if I'm right or not. Sorry about the camera work, I'm trying to do several things at once. But with this underneath, the bridge is pretty much level with the other upper level of the track, or the upper level generally. So whether I've got enough of this brickwork to sort of match it in, I don't know. But it's going to be like a starting plinth that the stone bridge is built on, so it won't be exactly the same, but once it's weathered and coloured the same, it should become part of the bridge. But I was trying to think of any other ideas I can do. It's quite a hard one really, because if I just get rid of and have the bridge at the lower level, you've got this wonderful big step, probably about 15 foot in scale, or maybe more, 20-foot wall that's right up against the upper level, and would be hard to have a believable slope that even a tractor would have gone up, being this being a farm bridge. So I don't know if I can make it believable over that distance. So I'm looking at this being the better option, to actually hire the bridge up with a bit of extra stonework under it. So that's my dilemma at the moment. But I'm going to start work on this soon. It's now finally time to make a start on the rest of the embankment. I've been waiting to do this for such a long time. I finally completed adding all the point motors under the TMD up this end, and now it's time to get on with it. So Celotex foam and a few other bits, and we'll make a start. Other foams are available, obviously, and my choice of glue is hot melt glue, as it's fast, and but you have to be careful you don't burn yourself, and very easy to construct. And it's a case of carving it to shape. Can't wait to get stuck in. Just got to remove this false wall that everybody used to think was a retaining wall on purpose, but I've always had this as a temporary thing, and the brick paper is really just wallpaper, but it's got a brick finish, and it doesn't look terrible, but it certainly isn't good enough to be a retaining wall. It just kept the drafts out, to be honest. Anyway, time to get stuck in. Having a mouse under it, and that's just a squeaky screw. You may not hear me that clearly at the moment because I haven't got a microphone on, plus I've got a loco running in the background. But when I put the foam in place, I won't be putting anything behind it, so I can cut into it at any time, like I have done previously as my layout, should I need to recover anything or get into something and make good. So it will just be like you can see in the distance, it will just be Celotex foam. To be honest with you, I still wasn't happy with this embankment, and I went back and have another sort of carve at it, so it's looking a bit better now. As I say, you just keep going at it until you feel that it's right, because once you've done it and you start putting the sculpt mould on, it's difficult to go back. So as I say, you can add sculpt mould, but if it's not sculpt mould, it's foam, you can't take it away with sculpt mould on top very easily. Just to show you what a mess you get in, because modelling is not a tidy hobby. I've just gone rummaging for some wood for over the other side of the embankment, so it'll hold it up so it don't fall off the layout and down the ladder. And I'm trying to find a nice long bit of wood that's stiff enough but not too thick, and that's why I keep all this junk in the loft readily available that I keep looking at and wishing that it weren't here, but the moment it's not here I'd need it. But I can't wait to tidy this up and even do away with it, get rid of it all, because what a mess. I mean, it looks tidier in this when I do put it away, but it's all jammed underneath the layout. As I say, you can't throw anything away in modelling. You never know when you're going to need it. But it does add to the mess. So, a bit of behind the scenes look here. My layout isn't perfect by no means. What you see above is a lot better than what's below, but I'm sure most people are the same. To discipline yourself and keep it perfect underneath is very hard, especially when you're working in a loft and you want to go up and down a limited number of times. You can't keep taking wood backwards and forwards unless it's large pieces. Right, off camera I've been carving away the embankment at this point to take the bridge on this side. I haven't started on the embankment on the other side yet, but I just want to get an idea how the bridge is going to fit into the landscape. So I've carved out a section to take the bridge, and if I put the bridge in, if it was sitting down at the track level it would be too low, so I propose to higher it up somewhat, sort of about that sort of height. And I've got some extra moulded brickwork I'm toying with putting underneath it. I think I'm going to have to cut another course of bricks off this, as it's not as big a gap as I thought it was going to be. But I'm going to add this course of bricks at the bottom and paint them the same colour and sort of weather them in so it looks like it's a brick plinth which the stone bridge has been built on. I don't know if it's going to work, hopefully it is. The brickwork that I'm going to use is cut off of these tunnel arches or retaining wall arches, which I think is a knock product, I'm not sure. So I've already cut this bit off, but I'm going to have to reduce the height of it, and hopefully I can do something with this to hold the bridge up. I've done a bit of carving behind the scenes, and I'm now ready to glue this in place and then carve it to shape. It's messy stuff to work with, but insulation foam is well worth it, even though there's a bit of a clear up needed and it just goes everywhere. It can affect your hands if you're allergic to it, but luckily it doesn't seem to affect me. It may do after a long period of time, but by then I've washed my hands, so I'm lucky. But you may need to wear gloves and possibly a mask if you think you're getting dust everywhere, but it's as long as you're cutting it with a sharp knife, you don't really create any dust. And after a few minutes, another pole. But it's gradually whittling down to the right sort of width. And to be honest, there's not a lot left. There's hardly any on here, but the insulation foam is just enough to give a reasonable incline and just finish off this side of the embankment. So I'll clear this up, and probably, no doubt, there'll be a bit more tinkering about, but it's pretty much there, I think, once I vacuum up. If it wasn't for a vacuum cleaner, this stuff would be a nightmare to clean up. It just sticks to everything. The only thing that shifts this is a vacuum cleaner. Right, that's it for today. Time to turn it in. It's been quite a few hours playing about with this. I still may need to carve it about a little bit more before I put the sculpt mould on. But I'm working out where the bridge is going to go, and what I'm going to have to add to it to get the height. But that's as far as I'm going today. So it's time to run the trains again, really. I've just purchased this Class 58 at a bargain price of £104, which I did post on my community page, and I think they've all gone now, but it was a real good buy. It's an EFE sort of masquerading really as an EFE, but it's a Helgen Embankment collaboration. Anyway, somebody mentioned in the comments, all I need now is some HAA wagons to pull behind it. Well, I'm glad to say I've already got a rake, and I've had this rake for some time. I've been updating the wheels and thinking about updating the couplings and other stuff, but I've had it for some time now. And if I get class 58 to go past, that's where things don't always go right, because it's come uncoupled. If I send the class 58 back, hopefully she'll couple up, and that's another reason why I need to change the couples, because they're right. You're going to have to excuse me. Let me do it manually. This is to show things don't always go to plan, and this certainly didn't. Anyway, as I was saying, I've got this rake, and I need to update the couplings, because they're the old-fashioned Hornby sort of tension lock couplings, great big things, and they don't play ball with the coupling on this class 58. But what I was going to do was pull them past like this, just to show you I got a reasonable rake of these, and they're already weathered. I think I've got 15 of them, even though I might have another one somewhere that I need to weather and I can't find it. So thanks for the comment. Luckily I don't need to go out and buy any of these, which seem to be really expensive at the moment, as people are going nuts with the prices, and I've pretty much got all I need, except for looking maybe for the odd one or two at a toy fair, maybe to extend it to a 20 rake.